What is a clear sign of you getting older? 40 is a weird age. Everyone older says you're so young. Everyone younger thinks you're so old. Congratulations, at 40, you are legally an older adult as defined by the Age Discrimination in Employment Act. When I watched professional sports and all the players looked like children, baseball, football, tennis to etc., you start doing the math and realize you're basically watching a glorified Pee-wee game. When they tear down a building that you remember getting built, haven't experienced that, but that feel though when a place you used to work in your hometown is now a parking lot. My elementary school got torn down and turned into condos. That was weird. When you've seen multiple decades of fashion trends come back into play with the young crowd, I laughed when I saw a pair of Jinko jeans being sold as vintage ultra-baggy denim in a trendy second-hand shop near work. It boggled my mind that people actually wanted to wear those again. But my 20-something coworker was like, "Ooh yeah, they go for like a few $100 or more now." I then showed the youngsters pics of how impractical garbage they were if worn in rain, snow, and the developing heel strap. After about a month of dragging on the ground, they all still want them. And they said it's cool, because no one wears them that long anymore. Case in point, the next day I saw a teen wearing a pair, only they stopped just above her ankles. Didn't think that look could get worse, but the kids have gone and done it. Haven't gone to a wedding in a very long time, have gone to a few funerals, though. You are more aware of others wasting their time, yes, and of their wasting your time. 58M. Where do I start? 30s. Didn't brush off the wipeout on my bike like I did in my 20s. 40s. Had to stop eating like I was 20. Visits to my family physician became much more frequent. 50s. Takes much longer to get out of bed. Back and joints ache continually. As I approach my 60s, my friend and family pool is getting smaller as they start to pass on. Spend more time reminiscing about the past than looking to the future. Life goes by quick. Don't waste it. I wish there was a way to know you are in the good old days before you've actually left them. Andy Bernard. I'll be 35 in 4 days and I miss all my old friends that had families and moved on. If your friends are anything like me, they think about you and all the good times you had all the time, but never bring themselves to bother you by reaching out. I used to sneak out of home to go to parties. Now I sneak out of parties to go home. Making noises when sitting up and down. Our dog is getting old, and whenever she stands up, she makes these little groaning noises. I thought it was cute and funny until the day I realized that I, too, make those noises whenever I stand up. Maybe she's mocking you, smiley. There was a man in the UK who hurt his leg and needed crutches and his dog started limping. Took her to the vet and apparently there's nothing wrong with her and she was doing it out of sympathy. People in positions of power being younger than you. I don't care about how I look without makeup anymore. I used to use the pull-up bar to make my arms big. I now use the pull-up bar to decompress my spine. It's also amazing for shoulder pain. You just sold me on a pull-up bar. Valuing your sleep and at least trying to follow a decent sleep schedule. I just can't do it if I don't. In younger years I could take on an army with 4 hours. Now 6 hours isn't even enough to piss straight. Ooh, I like their cabinetry while watching an exciting action movie. Having no idea what the latest trends are in pop culture, and not caring either. It's so freeing. 10 years ago feels like 2 years ago. 1990 is forever etched in my mind as 10 years ago. Time ended at 2000. That's why everything is so fricked up now. You start getting wisdom moments. Understanding why things happened and had to. Being more compassionate towards mistakes of others, because you're shooty yourself and you know it. This one hits it for me. I think I have become much more patient with idiots than before. I want to add though, I also see through bullshit and have no fear calling it out. Now, I mean, who's going to smack some old man for mouthing off? Yikes! Media, songs, movies, games you grew up with start being referred to as classics. The first time I heard Nirvana on the classic rock station, I died a little inside. Same here, but it was Green Day. So, Here are a few positive signs of aging. You recognize something is a dumb idea before you do it. You handle your own shit, clean up your own mess, rather than leaving it for someone else to deal with. Your immediate desire or impulse doesn't obscure every other factor when making an important decision. There are more, but you get the idea. You hear all types of pops and clicks in your body. I just tell people I'm a crunchy human, like a regular human, but deep fried. The adults in your life start dying. Man, I'm really sorry to many of you for the losses you've had to deal with. My inbox has been a tough read the last few hours. Wait until you hit 40. They drop like flies. It's insane how quickly your life can depopulate. I'm in my early 40s. I literally just attended the funeral of my best friend from my childhood this past Thursday. Died the day after his 42nd birthday from a coronary event. After going my first circa 15 years or so without anyone I knew dying, my last 25 years has been a series of deaths and funerals. My dad, grandparents, family, friends, a ton of kids from my HS. Before, it used to be extended people or older relatives, but here lately, it's people I knew well, and no longer car accidents, but terminal illnesses and things. Scary as frick. The feeling of not waking up hungover sounds better to you than a night of partying. I get hungover without even getting drunk now. I genuinely, not sarcasm, not a meme, have no idea what slang teenagers use these days. I have absolutely zero context or exposure to any cultural influences teenagers even have. It's weird how quickly it happens. I hear interviews with people from bands I have never heard of, and the interviewers like you have 6 platinum albums, or on People magazine covers. There are people I have never seen before. I'm old, don't care. I think the I don't care part is a key sign you are old. Intolerance for loud noise. The older I get, the less I can stand it. If anyone asks me to do anything after 8 p.m., the chances of me going are slim, and the chances are even slimmer if I've already put on sweatpants. You get out of sweatpants. Well done. Working remotely has definitely made me feel like I'm dressing up when I put jeans on. When you are asked your birthday online and you realize how much you have to scroll to get to your birth year. This one, the little year wheel just rolls and rolls and rolls to get to my year, 1967, PS. And I'm grateful for those years. Someday we will be filling out forms and the birth year will be 20 and we will have to cross out the 20 and write 19 above it in pen. You say to yourself, it's the end of January already. More like, what did I do between 1990 and 2000? I had a painter over, 19 years old, that kept referring to me as sir. I went to a local brewery taproom for lunch. I started chatting with the 19-ish-year-old bartender and mentioned that the first time I ever got a keg of beer it was from that brewery and mentioned the year. Wow, I wasn't even born yet. He says, for me it was meeting someone who said she was old. Then I realized I have a CD that is older than her. That 2 decades ago is no longer the 1990s. Sometimes I catch myself thinking the 90s were only a decade ago. The worst was when 80s night at the club turned into 90s night. Then when it turned into zeros night I started shopping for grave plots. I found myself just wandering around the aisles of Lowe's, not looking for anything in particular, and had a moment of self-clarity. I'm old. I'm looking for clearance sections, but I think I've always done that. Your address book includes many names of people who are either dead or you haven't heard from in years. Note, as I commented further down this thread, the address book referred to as my grandmother's from when she was alive. It's interesting to flip through the pages and see that most of the entries were crossed out by the time she died. Meaning, all those people are dead too. Also, you have an address book. OP furiously tries to find your address on his book. You don't dare leave the house without peeing. I'm in my early 20s and I do this. I'm turning 20 this April and leaving the house without peeing is suicide. I saw this somewhere yesterday. You live your 30s just like your 20s until the injury, or the diagnosis. This is me, no injury, but life-changing, not life-ending. diagnosis and the following ramifications. At 33 signaled the end of the good times and forced me to come to terms with my mortality. Now my Fridays, Saturday nights consist of couch, Cooper's Hawk, Home by 10, or D&D. Youth and life is precious. Don't waste it. You often prefer a light dish to fried food because the latter is indeed tastier, but it's not worth the trouble. It looks tasty, but do I have my antacids? I don't want to set foot in a nightclub ever again. I'm old enough where the club girls don't check me out so much as keep an eye on me. When I was about 40, I got dragged to a club by some younger coworkers after a team dinner. I lasted about 5 minutes before having to tap out. The music and fog machine going full blast was like a living hell to me. Every movie I've gone to, pre-pandemic and now, starts before 7 p.m. Sunday matinees, first show of the day. For me, it's cheaper where I live, not crowded at all, and as long as you avoid anything G-rated, you're golden. Shrek was released 21 years ago. Take that back. The Matrix was 23 years ago. You have a serious and in-depth conversation with your friends about decent lawnmowers, weed killers / vacuum cleaners. Damn it, I was talking in earnest about home appliances and had to stop and realize, damn it, if this is relevant then I'm old. Peer pressure is freaking stupid. What are you gonna do? Not let me sit at the cool kids table in the cafeteria of the eternal high school you reside in? People of all ages participate in peer pressure. Even something as simple as pushing expectations of how your lawn needs to be kept in a neighborhood results in a lot of peer pressure. It's just how people often are. I'm not saying it isn't stupid, but it's stupid at any age. The entire concept of FOMO is essentially wrapped up in peer pressure expectation.